One little thing onto the amazing thing that both of y'all said is that, like, along with that one person y'all talking about, when you just keep acquiring people, that's a generation you're talking about.
Yes. Right.
You didn't just change this life, you changed every life that should come after that one.
Right.
They're going to teach their children what they're supposed to. You know what I mean? That it's going to be
lit.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Peace, y'all, and welcome to the Black Yield Podcast, where we talk about land, food, and liberation.
Ole.
You want to introduce yourself, Ash?
What it is, y'all? It's your girl J Baby, and I got my man Lee Dog or Dwagley. Which one you want to say? Lee Dog, aka Dwagley, or Ashy Lee.
No, I was never Ashy Lee. He's adding stuff. I was never Ashy.
Whatever one is gonna be, but that's who we are. Go ahead. We'll introduce our guest.
Oh, absolutely. Our guest today, we have Tyra.
Thank you for having me today.
Welcome.
Yes, I'm so happy you're here. I got another woman on here. She actually knows what she's talking about, though, because I don't half of the time, but it's okay.
Y'all true.
We learning.
I ain't mad at it. Hey, so look, check it out. We are going to jump into our topic for today, which is You Are What You Eat, Part 2, right? And You Are What You Eat, Part 1, which was episode 2, was really good, and there was a lot more to talk about, it was a lot more to dive into, so we had to bring it back and do a Part 2, and we got some family here to kick it with us today while we do that. But, of course, before we do that, knowing Lee, we need to play a quick segment, one of our food games, just to get it jumping. And I think this one is pretty simple. It's called the food dating game. And it's really kind of a judgment game, I'll be completely honest. But we'll give you a food, and when we give you a food, you have to pick the food that matches best with that food if you eat both together. Does that make sense?
Give me an example.
Give you an example? Ketchup and mustard.
Okay.
You with me now?
Got you.
All right. Now, you know we cannot use ketchup and mustard, though.
Okay.
And they have foods either. But you get what I'm saying. All right. I got you. All right. So, Tyra, we can give...
No, we can let our guest go first.
Oh, absolutely. Good call.
Time to give y'all one?
Give her a food.
No, you give her one.
Okay. I'm going to go with beans.
Hot dogs.
Oh, that's really good. That was quick.
That was the number one answer. Hot dogs and beans with a
this
little bit
was-
of sugar. I put the cinnamon in there.
Yeah.
Butter, say
and the butter. Put the butter.
But wait,
But it gotta be the one in the white can, like the old ones. You know.
The old hot dogs?
The beans.
Oh, okay.
Is it Campbell's?
Is it Campbell's?
I have.
Or it could be Bush's.
No, Bush's is definitely. I don't think
it's an upgraded bean. No, we gonna keep it back down that Conway bean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a really
And
dope
take that
note.
little part out of that little thing.
Can we try it again? Actually, I'm really bothered that you because I thought it was gonna be at least like a minute.
Okay, let's go for it. I think.
Let's do this again. That was pretty good.
Okay, let's
it's
go
a great
for
way
it.
to start off.
Okay.
Let's do corn.
Tacos. Oh, you said a pair.
Yeah, they go great together.
Okay. Corn go great with tacos.
I don't know about the tacos.
Yeah, they really do though.
Right?
That's where it originated from, like that.
Like corn, just corn and tacos though.
Like rice, like Cordova or
No, we not. So that's what I'm saying. Just corn and tacos.
Oh yeah, let's try again.
Oh yeah, corn and barbecue chicken,
Let's
like
try one
something
more
like
time.
that.
Give me one more shot at it.
All right, I give you one
We
more
can't
shot.
use corn though.
We're not gonna use corn. We're not
Okay.
gonna use corn. We're not gonna use ketchup and mustard.
I
We're
got
not
a good
gonna
one.
use
Let me give her
Oh, go ahead.
one.
Okay, let's go for it.
Spinach.
That's a good one. Pop out the cell. That's a good one.
Salmon.
Oh no, that's a number
good. I did
one.
good.
You said salmon.
That's a
I did
number one
good.
answer.
We might
Number one answer.
do another
Hey.
cut. We
Did I
gonna
do
talk
good?
about
Give me
salmon
good.
the whole
You the
show.
truth. You the truth. That's the number one answer.
The whole
All
show.
right, we give Ashley a food.
Salmon.
Let's give Ashley a food.
Okay.
Ashley. What you call her?
Ashley.
I'm looking. I said I
Ashley.
had lotion on it today.
All right, let's give her drum roll. Ice cream.
Oh, you let out the game.
Brownies.
Yeah, you let out the hook with that. You let out the hook with that.
I think brownies is like a number 2 answer.
Oh, so it's
Caramel.
All right, hold on. Let's give Lee that the same food.
What, ice cream?
Ice cream.
Pie. Everybody know that.
You darker than dark. You should have said
Apple pie.
Oreo.
You gotta say apple
cute.
pie.
That's real cute. That's real cute.
Apple pie.
Apple pie.
All right.
Hold on.
Whipped cream.
Whipped cream.
Thanksgiving.
Okay.
All right. So
That was
that's
good. That was good.
That's
That's
solid.
fine.
That's solid. I'm questioning some stuff that y'all, you know what I mean, that y'all talked about, but I guess that's solid. But let's jump into our topic. We can talk about our food preferences later, because the tacos and corn don't sit too well. Let's jump into our topic though. So you are what you eat part 2, right? And man, before we talked about a lot, and one of the biggest things, or one of the first things that we touched on, we talked about how over-reliant our communities are on grocery stores. And we also talked about how a line of stuff comes with being reliant on that grocery store for your food, and how there's an aspect of control that you have that you have forfeited inside of that process of being a consumer at the grocery store, in your neighborhood, in your community, what they chose, the grocery store they chose for you. So, just jumping out the gate, I think I talked about last time, growing up I always had a chance to go to the grocery store in the neighborhood, which was not the great grocery store. The produce was like wilt, things were expired. It was the same kind of story over and over again. But I guess one of the things I want to think about is what happened, or how did that affect us in our generations to come, those experiences today, if that makes sense.
Go ahead, Tyra. You can answer.
I think just like the overall access to healthy foods, right? And just like the conditions that we have, like our neighborhoods, impoverished, lack of housing, housing infrastructure,
Absolutely, yeah.
bad education, bad, and those things like that yield lack of resources, right? So just our ability to outsource those things,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So like that's all we have. Right, and you teach your family and you teach your children what you know and all you know.
Right. And then it's just like a cycle, because you're still teaching the same things unless one of us, break that generation.
Right. And see, the reality of it is too, though. The reality of it is that inside of those grocery stores, like I said, that it flows through our generation at that point. It's almost a must, you know what I mean, that you shop or you operate like your family did as you grow up. It's just part of you, unless you told and taught different, or you learned different, of course. However, I think it's one of those things to even think about. We can't even account for where any of the food in that grocery store came from. So even out the gate, I can't even agree and say, I can't agree with what is perceived that we have a decision on how we eat, if that makes sense.
Right.
You can't choose, you don't get to choose how you eat if you don't get to choose what food you want and where your food comes from.
Right.
A grocery store, we're choosing the location to
determine the
find a
quality.
supply of food.
Right. And all along, it's the same food.
Absolutely.
It's the
all
same as their food. Like you can go to her seat and like, I don't shop at Shoppers or Food King. Why not?
Right.
It's all the same product.
Well, in a way.
And as our guest today, we have Tyra.
Thank you for having me today.
Welcome.
Yes, I'm so happy you're here. I got another woman on here. She actually knows what you're talking about though, because I don't half of the time, but it's okay.
Yeah, true.
We learning.
I ain't mad at it. Hey, so look, check it out. We are going to jump into our topic for today, which is You Are What You Eat, Part 2, right? And You Are What You Eat, Part 1, which was episode 2, was really good, and it was a lot more to talk about, it was a lot more to dive into, so we had to bring it back and do a Part 2, and we got some family here to kick it with us today while we do that. But, of course, before we do that, knowing Lee, we need to play a quick segment, one of our food games, just to get it jumping. And I think this one is pretty simple. It's called the food dating game. And it's really kind of a judgment game, I'll be completely honest. But we'll give you a food, and when we give you a food, you have to pick the food that matches best with that food if you eat both together. Does that make sense?
Give me an example.
Give you an example? Ketchup and mustard.
Okay.
You with me now?
Got you.
All right. Now, you know we cannot use ketchup and mustard, though.
Okay.
And they have foods either. But you get what I'm saying. All right. I got you. All right. So, Tyra, we can give...
No, we can let our guests go first.
Oh, absolutely. Good call.
Time to give y'all one?
Give her a food.
No, you give her one.
Okay. I'm going to go with beans.
Hot dogs.
Oh, that's really good. That was quick.
That was the number one answer. Hot dogs and
Yeah,
beans
if
was
this
what we
was-
should have. I put the cinnamon in there.
Yeah.
Why did I say
and the butter. Put the butter.
But wait,
But it gotta be the one in the white can, like the old ones. You know.
The old hot dogs?
The beans.
Oh,
okay. Is it Campbell's?
Is it Campbell's?
I have.
Or it could be Bush's.
No, Bush's is definitely. I don't think
it's an upgraded beans. No, we gonna keep it back down that Conway beans.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a really
And
good
take
one,
that little part out of
That's
that little
really
thing.
Can
out
we
of
try
that.
it again? Actually, I'm really bothered that you because I thought it was gonna be at least like a minute.
Okay, let's go for it. I think.
Let's do this again. That was pretty good.
Okay, let's
it's
go
a great
for
way
it.
to start off.
Okay.
Let's do corn.
Tacos. Oh, you said a pair.
Yeah, they go great together.
Okay. Corn go great with tacos.
I don't know about the
Yeah, they really do though.
Right?
That's where it originated from, like that.
Like corn, just corn and tacos though.
Like rice, like Cordova or
No, we not. So that's what I'm saying. Just corn and tacos.
Oh yeah, let's try again.
Oh yeah, corn and barbecue chicken,
Let's
like
try one
something
more
like
time.
that.
Give me one more shot at it.
All right, I give you one
We
more
can't
shot.
use corn though.
We're not gonna use corn. We're not
Okay.
gonna use corn. We're not gonna use ketchup and mustard.
I
We're
got
not
a good
gonna
one.
use
Let me give
Oh, go
one.
ahead.
Okay, let's go for it.
Spinach.
That's a good one. Pop out the cell. That's a good one.
Salmon.
Oh no, that's a
real.
number.
did good. I did
Look,
good.
you said salmon.
That's
I
the
did
number
good.
one answer.
We might
Number one answer.
do another
Hey.
cut.
Did
We
I
gonna
do
talk
good?
about
Give me
salmon
some.
the whole
You the
show.
truth. You the truth. That's the number one answer.
The whole
All
show.
right, we give Ashley the food.
Salmon.
Let's give Ashley the food.
Okay.
Ashley. What you call her?
Ashley.
I'm looking. I said I
Ashley.
had lotion on today.
All right, let's give her. Drum roll. Ice cream.
Oh, you let out the game.
Brownies.
Yeah, you let out the hook with that. You let out the hook with that.
I think brownies is like a number 2 answer.
Ooh, so it's
Caramel.
All right, hold on. Let's give Lee that the same food.
What, ice cream?
Ice cream.
Pie. Everybody know that.
You darker than dog. You should have said
Apple pie.
Oreo.
You gotta say apple pie.
That's real cute. That's real cute.
Apple pie.
Apple pie.
All right.
Hold on.
Whipped cream.
Whipped cream.
Thanksgiving.
Okay.
All right. So
That was
that's
good. That was good.
That's
That was
solid.
fine.
That's solid. I'm questioning some stuff that y'all, you know what I mean, that y'all talked about, but I guess that's solid. But let's jump into our topic. We can talk about our food preferences later, because the tacos and corn don't sit too well. Let's jump into our topic though. So you are what you eat part 2, right? And man, before we talked about a lot, and one of the biggest things, or one of the first things that we touched on, we talked about how over-reliant our communities are on grocery stores. And we also talked about how a line of stuff comes with being reliant on that grocery store for your food, and how there's an aspect of control that you have that you have forfeited inside of that process of being a consumer at the grocery store in your neighborhood, in your community, what they chose, the grocery store they chose for you. So, just jumping out the gate, I think I talked about last time, growing up I always had a chance to go to the grocery store in the neighborhood, which was not the great grocery store. The produce was like wilt, things were expired. It was the same kind of story over and over again. But I guess one of the things I want to think about is what happened, or how did that affect us in our generations to come, those experiences today, if that makes sense.
Go ahead, Tyra. You can.
I think just like the overall access to healthy foods, right? And just like the conditions that we have, like out neighborhoods, impoverished, lack of housing, housing infrastructure,
Absolutely, yeah.
bad education, bad, and those things like that yield lack of resources, right? So just our ability to outsource those things,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So like that's all we have. Right, and you teach your family and you teach your children what you know and all you know.
And then it's just like a cycle, because you're still teaching the same things unless one of us, break that generation.
Right. And see, the reality of it is too, though. The reality of it is that inside of those grocery stores, like y'all said, that it flows through our generation at that point. It's almost a must, you know what I mean, that you shop or you operate like your family did as you grow up. It's just part of you, unless you're told and taught different, or you learn different, of course. However, I think it's one of those things to even think about. We can't even account for where any of the food in that grocery store came from. So even out the gate, I can't even agree and say I can't agree with what is perceived that we have a decision on how we eat, if that makes sense.
Right.
You can't choose. You don't get to choose how you eat. You don't get to choose what food you want and where your food comes from.
Right.
A grocery store, we're choosing the location to
determine
find,
the
find a
quality.
supply of food.
Right. And
But-
all along, it's the same food.
Absolutely.
It's the
all
same as their
food.
food. Like you can go to Harris Teeter and like, oh, I don't shop at Shoppers or Food King. Why
Right.
not?
Right.
It's all the same product.
So yeah, as you made a great point too. You said a lot of the grocery stores all got the same stuff in them. And the truthfully is they all of low nutritional value. It's none of. So let's be clear. When we talk about our decisions on food, when we decide on what we eat, we decide on how we live, right? We decide on our health with what we eat. To be very clear. Now, even if we have to pick out of what's perceived as the better grocery stores, it's still not foods that are directly beneficial to us, our kind, where we come from, and how we should eat to sustain ourselves. You know what I mean? So it's interesting because everything that's offered to us is, you know what I mean, what we didn't pick, I guess, you know what I mean?
Right. Like if you think about like our beginnings, like where we come from, like, you know, most of us are black or brown. Like we come from Africa, like our traditions. Like before the transatlantic slave trade, like we didn't have these eating practices. Like our diet wasn't high in sugar and high in meat. We had a diet low in meat, low in sugar, high in veggies, high in herbs and fruits and things like that. You know, so after that, we adapted these cultures, right? These practices, these Western practices, and now we see it today. What we eat, soul food, right? Yep. And that is a clear representation of our struggle. Like even today, you know what I mean? Like we didn't come over here with those practices. So those things are important. And I also want to say about the foods in the grocery stores, like some of them are the same, but listen, this is how you can choose some of these higher. More expensive businesses, your higher brand stores like Wegmans, stores like Wegmans. I shop at Wegmans.
I've shopped there before. I just don't have it close to me, but I know exactly
and
what you
things
said.
like that. I've never shopped there. I've been to Sprouts once. I'm not sure. But so these stores and these businesses, they get to choose from certain quality vegetables and produce and things like that. So when you say it's the same, maybe it's the same in a way. But like when you go to Wegmans, I've always seen beautiful fruit. I've always seen they're perfect. It's almost like, you know, they were designed. I've never seen a disproportionate eggplant in. Why did I say eggplant?
Was everything real?
Everything was perfect. The cucumbers are pretty. Everything it's grade A groceries.
Yeah,
grade
that
A
was what
produce.
you said on the last show was they get to choose their grade that's which would allow them
but when we go
to raise the prices. So then it's like, what? Am I going to pay for the quality or grade A, or I'm going to go somewhere where I can afford it?
Or you can go to like your Aldi and get grade D off from the same farm, from the same supplier, get grade D, just a little bit fat on the end.
I think what really comes into play too, though, when you think about it like that, there are some grocery stores that I shop at and that I know folks shop at. That Wegmans is definitely. That's why I said I seen why you said Wegmans. Yeah. But there are grocery stores like that it's just like the best, right? At least as we perceive it as the best. Yeah. But it's still, I guess, you know what I mean, just circling it back around, it's the best out of what we have. You know what I mean? It's the best out of what they say we can have. It's the best out of, you know what I mean, what they're giving us. And we don't really, I mean, it's a choice out of, you know what I mean, what's greater. You know what I mean? But you think about it, if somebody give you nails, cotton, and rope to eat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which one you gonna choose?
Yeah.
Right.
That shit don't mean it's, you know what I mean? So I think that's a great way to look at it too. But I swear, I agree. And I think it's actually a perfect segue because I want to know more. Can you tell us, well, can you share a little bit about you and share like your story? You know what I mean? Like, where did you grow up with? What was your connection to food? Tell us how things unfolded.
Okay. So, I'm rich, you know, for y'all. Those of you who don't know what that means, raised in Cherry Hill. So I grew up in Cherry Hill. I grew up in a community, a loving community, impoverished community. But we had love and we had each other. And I had family. I grew up with my mom, you know, and my parents and my sister. But we had family, we had one another, so we ate together back then. We ate together.
All the kids
we
on
did
the block.
We did community meals,
Right.
and that's another practice that's been lost in tradition.
Yeah,
like
that's
why
law, really, you
and
know
just
what I mean?
really quick, I just want to plug this really quick. Why we eat as a community, right? Like back when we were slaves. We used to, all the slaves would work in the field on the day, right? And all the slaves would be together, so they would make food enough to produce for enough large numbers of people, and that's why we ate together. And today's like why we share food. It's a practice because we really didn't have a choice but to eat together because that was the only time that we can eat. So just seeing those practices and how they like follow us through our culture, but. So we didn't really have a lot of great access to food, clean food, healthy food.
Right.
We shopped at Food King. We had Food King. We went to Save a Lot.
Walk across
Yeah.
the track.
Yeah, we walked across some tracks. So got us a hat. Don't play.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mom, come get the bags. Don't eat nothing out them bags that I'm having. You ain't got nothing but with the barbecue wings, the Murray wings, the chicken tenders, all that.
Right.
We had my grandmother labored the farm. The White Lock back in the day, so I remember. I have clear remembrance of just like of that a little bit,
Right.
like just remember.
Right.
And I mean, I was young when she transitioned, but I remember just the stories and things like that. So having a connection to food in that way has always just piqued my interest in wanting to do better. Watching people in my neighborhood, my family, become ill, just because they have like poor nutritional habits.
Real.
So
Real. Right in front of our eyes, too.
yeah. And just we had terrible cooking, like how we prepare our food. All our practices were like take some fresh greens, add a pound of salt, some pork necks. So what would they put in there?
Smoked turkey neck.
No, we didn't use turkey back then, girl.
I'm sorry.
We used fat back and neck bones to season them greens.
Yeah, that's real.
You understand?
I
So
ate
like
fried
just the way we prepare food. So
I can't believe we used to eat.
I still like fried fat back.
I'm fine.
Hey, I
I'm
couldn't.
alright. I'm good. I'm sorry.
I couldn't do
Ain't
it.
nothing like a little crunch you got put on the side. And
It's definitely
get it.
something like the crunch.
Man, look, I couldn't do it. So look, let me ask you this then, Tyra. Where do you shop at, and what's in your cart when you shop?
All right, so I'm frugal. I'm gonna be 100%.
Okay.
Thank y'all for the compliments, but I'm frugal and I'm mindful, and I don't really need a lot. And I don't really have to prepare a lot of food. My family isn't really that large, so I shop at. I can shop at Wegmans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do shop at Aldi. It's certain things
Yeah,
I will go,
yeah.
and I don't mind going to two or
Yeah.
three different stores. I shop at Costco. I love me a farmer's market. Like it's a tradition when the farmer's market season starts.
Right.
Like I go to eat and party at the farmer's market, and I buy my groceries. But since doing this work and being more immersed around you guys, and just helping out, I've been more inclined to like want fresh stuff, grow my own stuff. I grow my little sprouts in my window. Yep, I grow my sprouts, my little green onions. I'm growing my food.
That's the truth. No, man. That's
I'm starting somewhere, so.
So at what point did you just like wake up and be like, I don't want to do this no more. I want different. Like what made you feel like that?
So like growing up, like my dad was different. He was just different, and he just taught us to never just take what someone is given to you. Always question that. So I've always been like, I've always had like a liberated spirit, like early on. Like I've always been a rebel in my own right, and I'm okay with that. So and just like seeing my family and my friends and my peers like become ill, and then most of all becoming a mom, like just being immersed traveling and being immersed in different cultures, like going to college, going away, like you get to see a lot. And just the person that I am, I'm not just out here to just be here. Like I'm literally taking all of my experiences and learning from them. So I'm not making the same mistakes. At least I'm not trying to intentionally. So just doing that, becoming a mom was different because I was not gonna do that to my child.
Right.
Like even though we have these unhealthy practices, we know what's right. Like we know pork is not the best. We know it, but we still choose to do those things, and that's fine. But I just chose to do different, and I was not going to pass those practices to my son. And anybody that knows me can really say like they really only know me of being a certain kind of way when it comes to food and things like that, and when it comes to consumption.
That's discipline. That took a lot to change because I eat whatever.
It's hard. You'll get
Like
there. You'll get there. It's fine. It's fine.
I feel that, man. I thank you for sharing.
No, seriously.
But no, I think we all share a lot of similarities to your story. And I think it's a story that a lot of people that come from communities, poor black and brown communities like we come from, share the same story. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like it's almost a thing. Actually, I heard T.I. say something on TV the other day, and it's just like we talk about how it trades down from generation to generation, right? And it's almost like how can you be immersed in this thing, you know what I mean, and not become it or not become a piece of it or not engage in it. And his metaphor was how do you dance in water and not get wet? Like you know what I mean? It's not. I said to say that it's not our fault because we didn't get put. You know what I mean? We didn't come and sit in water if water was poured on us and we're here now, and that's all we know is what we're dealing with. But I think another thing to think about though is like we talked about like having to accept whatever is given to us in our communities. I think it's another conversation when you talk about what's culturally right appropriate for us. Like what food is good for us as black folks, as black people. What food supports our physical needs, our spiritual needs, everything. Like what foods are like, what food should we be connected to in that way?
Greens.
Grains is definitely one of them.
I agree.
I think that's the number
I think
one.
a lot of the leafy, all of the leafy greens
Or cabbage.
has always played a major role for as long as I can remember.
I mean, I can stop at leafy greens. I'm fine.
I'm done with greens.
If that's my pyramid, I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's real.
You know, but I do.
They have so much stuff in them, and they do so much.
Yeah, I do want to share, right? Well, like this, they can see me, right?
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely,
recording.
yeah.
Okay, so I do want to share. I bought something because I just want to share this, right? I know I mentioned earlier about our like traditions and our African beginners, but I just want to share with like the audience. I have a visual, and I want to show y'all this visual, and it's a pyramid, right? It's a food pyramid, and it's called Old Ways African Heritage Diet Pyramid, and it's basically
That's right.
And this, if you look at it, it's a way of eating just based on healthy traditions of people with African roots. And if you look at the bottom, right, the pyramid is saying consume the most greens, right? So consume the most greens, right?
Yeah.
Now base every meal off these foods. So they want you in every food have more greens than you have anything, right? Right? And then you can have some grains, right? It has some tubers, grains, veggies, beans, nuts, fruits, right? Right? They want you to have that in every meal, but right? A portion of it. And then they say add some herbs and spices. And then we have meat, right?
First thing on there.
Meat is in the middle. It's like often, you can have meat sometimes, right? At least 2 times a week, right? And then it goes up, and then we have fried, we have eggs, we have poultry, we have dairy. At the top of the pyramid saying moderate portions daily to weekly, mean like you don't really need to have milk every day, right? Cow milk. I don't even want to have the cow milk conversation.
Yeah.
Please, not here.
Yeah,
And then at the top
about.
of the pyramid, and you see it says sweets, and it has sweets occasionally linked, meaning just have some sweets, like moderately. So make sure I get it right. I don't know what this right y'all is.
No,
This is my first time here. Whatever side this is, it's saying drink as much water as you can, like drink more water than anything. But I just want to show you guys this, right? Because we eat opposite to that. We eat.
That's true.
Look, people don't even see it.
Call that hustling backwards.
We hustle backwards. We eat backwards.
Yeah.
Right? So what this pyramid is intended to do is just basically capitalize on what, because we already eat everything in this pyramid. We eat it. It's already on our plate. We got fish on our plate. I mean, we got meat. We got a starch. We have maybe grains. We have some grains on our plate. We already eat like this. But this is saying to just tweak it, just proportion it differently. Instead of having the most meat, have the most veggies. And you still get your meat. So it's a mind thing. And we feel like we can't do this, but it's mental, because although our resources are limited, our knowledge and our ability just to make small tweaks and decisions just to outplay the food is not. So when you say I can't eat this, it's a decision, because if you eat some broccoli, that means you can eat more broccoli than you can eat meat. And it's just a decision that we choose. Right, and I'm gonna get you to eat that butternut soup before we leave.
No, what I was saying was how when you showed it to me, you had flipped it around. You have the top at the bottom, so they can actually visually see this.
So what I did to her is I flipped it around and I say we eat. If you can follow along, we eat upside down. We eat backwards. So.
That's real. That's
so basically,
powerful.
this one is just to capitalize on the things we already eat, right? Yeah. Capitalizing and secure our interests and just tweak it, right? So that's basically all all that is. And I personally feel like that's how we going to like stop generational curses through food.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting though, because you think about all the big agencies, right, and the people that actually have control of our food, like USDAs, schools, prisons, all these different folks who control what's being fed in their institutions and what's being fed in the communities around them is one a mind-blowing thing. But you gotta go back and you gotta think about even referring to your pyramid, you gotta think about what we was told was healthy, right?
Right.
And it's crazy because you have a pyramid here today that I know for sure guarantees you that, you know what I mean, you're doing the best you can at your health. Right. But then the pyramid that we knew about, the pyramid that was in school books, the pyramid that was plastered on the doctor's office wall.
Yes.
Right? The pyramid that was in the cafeteria line.
And the number one pyramid, your parents.
What? You know what I mean? So it's mind blowing that like you said, that's a pyramid to hustle backwards. That's a pyramid to really set yourself up. You know what I mean? But when we think about control, right? Who gave us that? And what we do with it when we got it? And what they teach us in the school about it? Right? That's sick. You know what I mean? It's mind blowing. How do you know what I mean? How do you explain that? How do you come clear on the fact that like that's not a target? You know what I mean? How do you like I don't know. I would need somebody to elaborate for me because I don't. You can't tell me that if you controlling food for a country, you know what I mean, and these kinds of foods flows in these kind of communities, and these kind of folks have these kind of effects by it, health effects, mental effects, and all this different thing. Like that sound like, you know what I mean? You're trying to take me down if you ask me.
Well, Mike said it a long time. What you say?
Say it one time.
Michael Jackson. They don't really care about.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I know what they do care about.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing: those ideologies were given to us. We were tricked. It wasn't like, okay, we didn't choose that. We were what I want to inoculated, indoctrinated. We didn't choose that. We had someone go and find these standards and speak to. And I'm not completely sure about the history, but I know, like, you know, like our slave masters, and they went over there, man, and they talked to this man to figure out how to control the people because we was rebelling like a mob. Can we cuss here?
You can't. I
can't. I just want to make sure we was rebelling too bad, you know, and they couldn't control because we didn't eat like that.
Right. Fact.
We didn't eat like that. We didn't live like that. So we were rebelling. So they had to go figure out how to control these people. So when they say, "Oh, do they know they kings and queens? Do they know they emperors and empress? Do they know that?" Yeah, they know. So it's like, "Oh, they know. That's your problem. They're not supposed to know that they've been." And so like once we have been indoctrinated like that, like it's just in it. It's just a part. It's just a part of how it. Part of how it is, but now when we learn, become aware of that, we were indoctrinated. Then we can choose to say, okay, let me figure out what was the real thing, what was my truth, my history, my culture, and let me go back to that.
Right.
You know, so there's choices. Real.
No, that's real.
To me,
that's real. I want to speak to your point. You talked about how the slave masters had to go learn, right, how to control, right? Yeah. And let me ask you this: how you feel about SNAP? How you feel about WIC? How you feel about all the places that are coupons to go to the places that we just talked about, like giving us food that's not good for our bodies? That's the reality of it too.
Given was the word that stood out to me in your statement. Given. Give me your phone. Give me your phone. No, give me your phone. Right. Did I take it?
No.
Right.
You got a choice.
Right.
It's not that easy though. I don't.
No, and it's not.
I don't think it's that easy only because we all have a choice, but no, I'm not going to take it, but how long is it going to take me to figure out where I'm going to get it from?
Yeah, but do you know better?
That's all I'm about to say. You don't know you have a choice, though. We do all have a choice, but do we know?
Do we know?
Do we know that there's a choice to be made?
That's my point. We don't know. So, like you said, just give me your phone. You didn't take it.
Right, because I know better. I know not to take it.
But you know, you didn't know at one point. So, what I'm saying is at what point... For someone that doesn't know, someone that's not willing to know, I'm not going to take your phone because I have a choice.
Absolutely.
But now I'm not going to take it and I'm going to be starving or I'm not going to have a phone. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to get another phone. The waiting part, the process of it,
Right.
the process of the transition is where it gets real.
Right. No, I see what you are.
That's fine. That's
yeah.
real. That's
yeah,
real.
and that's powerful. And I've been there. I can't sit up here and say, give me your phone like I ain't need a phone. What if I got a phone right here, I don't need a phone.
Yeah.
And I know that I don't need a phone.
And to be real
You know
about it
what
too,
I mean?
like
So
you gotta eat too. Like it ain't
Right.
like what you supposed
Right.
to do. If you ain't got no whip to go nowhere, what you supposed to do? You know what I mean? If you don't got money to shop, you can get the best foods that you want. But you gotta go for the bigger meal, the stretch meal like we like to call it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I guess what I'm saying and what I see is that you know, we see all these things around us. And even if I'm limited to my resources or I'm limited and limited in what I can have, I see all these things around me and I choose to starve and I make excuses. I'm gonna just say the word. Excuses to starve, but I'm fresh. Like make it make sense.
Right.
So when you tell me it's hard, I feel you, but I'm fresh. And I'm hungry.
Right.
I can't. That don't resonate with me. It don't resonate with me.
So look, while we on the topic of nutritional justice, right? So and that's generally what this is all about. While we on the topic of nutritional justice, let me ask y'all a question. Because we from where we from, yo.
Question.
You go into the big carryout. For those who don't know, who aren't listening, y'all want to explain what the big carryout is? Y'all from the
I'm gonna let Ash.
No,
Me?
that's not
Right?
me.
Who are you?
Oh, that is me. I'm sorry.
Oh my bad. Who is she?
She Ashley.
Ashy. I'm gonna let Ashley do it.
What's
the big
carryout?
carryout is the carryout in Cherry Hill that has the best chicken in Baltimore.
All right, now hold on now. What's the most common order when you walk inside of there? What
4
you
wings
gonna
and
hit?
fries, regular fries.
4 wings and fries.
Salt,
What
pepper,
on
ketchup, hot sauce,
Woo!
with a half and half.
With a
What
what
what?
size?
What a what?
Jumbo.
Okay.
I have, right?
Mhm.
I know. Let me ask you this: Is that not controlling our? Is that not controlling our food stuff?
Yep.
Is that not the same thing the big agencies doing?
Yeah.
You move in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
You set up shop
Right.
and you feed us that
Right.
by the mass though. Like how much do they make? Because they've been there for how long?
Mhm. I don't
Like,
know.
it's
that-
the
No,
sustainable here.
they've been there for like at least
It's
all
just
my life.
somebody's paying them,
Hold up, wait.
right? Like they got it. They can pay the rent. That's a problem for what they're selling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they had a store for drugs.
And they had, and you know what's, and you know
what?
what's crazy that you said
You know
that
what I mean?
because they had a store right beside it that sold the fresh. Remember the fresh fruits, the fresh veggies.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, right on the side.
Ain't last but so many months.
Prime example. That's
The
real.
veggies weren't fresh.
That's real. And that's a real thing too.
The veggies weren't
The
fresh.
real
Why we
thing,
can't
too.
get fresh veggies? They got fresh veggies across the bridge. 4.5 minutes, 3 minutes away is fresh veggies
Yeah.
at HT Market, right? And to my point to that is we get the big carryout, Cherry Hill carryout in the hood for 30 plus years,
Right.
I said all my life it's been
Right.
there 30 plus years, but we can't get a Starbucks. Whoa. Starbucks ain't leaving the hood. You know how many frappuccinos and macchiatos these people want to buy every single day? So it's like you speak to that, but then you say we're not good enough for this.
Right. Right. And then the fact that we don't get to make a decision whether or not, you know what I mean, they stay, they go, or who the runner up is and what's
Yeah.
next. Like that's a mind blowing thing too.
Or do we?
Or do we?
Do we?
Or do we?
What if we stop patronizing? I'm just saying. I'm not saying don't eat no chicken from the big carryout. I'm just saying imagine a world where we stop patronizing the big carryout. What does that look like for them? Okay, what it look like for any business you stop patronizing. It looks like grand closing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
to your question, I think I say yes, we can. But is it gonna happen? I can say a strong no.
Political education to get it there. I think now a lot of it,
It's still
buckets and
shut-
buckets. You know what I mean? But it definitely can happen. And I also, so I think what's clear out of even that, even thinking about the local level, right, is that we have folks who are not of our descent, who are not our people, Korean folks in Korean carryouts who feed us what they want to feed us, and we eat it up. You know what I mean? And we helping them build power by sustaining their businesses, sustaining their generations.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
man,
you holding
yes.
up households. You know what I
Yes.
mean? That's
Literally.
real. That's real. You holding up households, and that's what we spending our dollars at. And then on top of that, what we get back in return. Like you get edged off the list. Like you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
It's no, you know what I mean, that you're going backwards.
Right.
And you paid for it too.
Right. Imagine a business that will listen to you, right? You say this is what they feed us. No, we like chicken. We like that. We go in there. We don't go in and they say, hey, do you want a full wing chicken box? You want salt, pepper, ketchup? They don't say that. We say, let me get full wings, with some fries, salt, pepper, ketchup on the chicken, a little bit of hot sauce on the fries, a jumbo half hat, a little bit of ice, mumbo sauce on the side.
Right.
And give me a lot of napkins and 2 forks, because I'm sharing.
Right. That's right.
But if we go in there, we say, Mama, you know what? I think I'm gonna start I like your lake trout, but when did you start selling spinach? Can you start selling spinach for us, Mama?
Mm-hmm. No,
Mama, you know what? I'm not even gonna buy you. I'm not gonna buy the lake trout. You don't stop. If you gonna buy, I'm gonna have all my buddies.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't sell spinach, yeah, man, we gonna stop buying it. I bet. I mean, I'm not on bet, but I mean, it's a chance.
No, I see where you're going. That's how you work in power, though. That's how you move. That's
So
how
we
you
don't have to shut them down. We don't have to stop patronizing their business. But
Right.
and can we make requests? Yes, we can. Do we? No, we don't.
But see, I think
Right?
the only thing.
That's a good point.
That's a
I
request.
never even thought
It's a
I never even
request.
thought about it like that.
You know, it's a
But-
request.
And see, the thing that would, the only thing that would trump that, the only thing that I think would go behind that is the fact that we gotta ask.
But what? That's fine. What's wrong with asking?
No, I'm saying, but that's what we're talking about.
Because
control.
they don't really care about us.
Absolutely
Then do I need to say it again? So we have to ask, right? It's like, you know, my dad used to be like, you know, if you can't beat them, join them. And I okay, I understand. No, you beat them, you join them, then you take their job. Oh, I see now is method.
That's another way. Yeah, foot through the door.
Plug with my
Work
dad.
your
You know, so can't beat them, join them, take their
Wisdom
job.
always wins.
Right, I don't want to shut you down. It's fine. You can be here, but I need you to sell spinach with that lake trout.
Right.
You can't get spinach. I'm just gonna stop buying the fish. It's fine. I'm just give me a half and half. I bet next time we got spinach.
So let me
You get
ask you a
spinach.
question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So what? How would you go about getting connected to these different foods that we should be eating? How would you go about ensuring other folks get connected? And like, how would you go about making sure they're readily available? Or what would be your efforts in trying to make it readily available? If that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I appreciate that. I think you only really can reach who is reachable. Like a person has to be teachable. A person has to be
Yep.
open to wanting to change, right? But I think like a lot of people don't know, and I had to stop saying people know. A lot of people don't know Harris Teeter 2 minutes away, three minutes away, right? So I think like just like networking, you know, for political education, and then it's like, how do you get political education? It's like, how do you get people to sit still? How do you get people to even be okay with transitioning their taste buds and their palates? Like it's a lot, man, and it's just working together and consistency and determination.
You gotta get to one person, and that one person has to be powerful enough to influence the others.
Or one more person.
Or
just one more person.
It has to be a group though.
But no, because one person, you can affect me, and I can affect Lee, and Lee can affect you.
That's what I'm saying. That person has to
be.
be powerful enough to
know?
to influence the others. But I think it just has to be a group. It's
I agree.
nothing nobody can do as one person, and they all have to be willing to do their outreach,
I
to
agree.
be able to talk about it, to be willing to not know and still want to indulge in the conversation and be like, yo,
Yeah.
I know this.
Right.
And see, I want to add. So yeah, man. So if I can also ask Tyra, I got another question. I'm sorry to keep
It's all right.
dropping them on you like this, but what did you learn about nutrition in your food? Like, what did you come to all the knowledge you have now that affords you a way healthier lifestyle?
Yeah, thanks for that. It's like it's evolving, so I'm constantly evolving. But I would say just having experiences
Right.
and I've always been so like eager to want to know more. And like I said before, maybe it was like the little rebel in me and the liberator in me. I just wasn't okay with this. Like, you know, wasn't okay with how my body responded to milk. You know, so if I eat ice cream and my body don't like it, why would I eat it again? So just being mindful of my body and being present in my body, you know, like I just went through it. And then one time I went to college and we did like a pork chop experiment with the pork chop and the bleach in the sun and like turning maggots over time. It was just like, it was just freaky, and that was it for pork. So,
Right.
being immersed, having friends from different cultures, going away, traveling, like I've always just wanted always just wanted more for my body and wanted more for myself.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. The question might always be like, for a lot of folks ask questions to us, like, how do we get involved, right? Like, how do we
Right.
become a part of doing the right thing? How do we become a part of building the movement? And if you don't mind me sharing, Tyra is also part of our food steering co-op committee. So you talk about folks who put their money where their mouth is. You talk about folks who are not only serious about their health, but how to invest in other folks and their health and their community. Man, we gotta pat you on the back. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
That's a thing, and that's a thing
I
we do with
appreciate
passion
that.
too.
I appreciate
absolutely,
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's evolving. It's evolving, and it's like it's other things. It's not just food. It's not just what we eat that is gonna constitute a healthier lifestyle. It's physical activity, right? It's mindful thinking, right? It's putting yourself in it's putting yourself in environments around positive people, right? Choosing to say, okay, I'm not gonna let this worry me. Like all of that is work. You don't get to that over time. You know, this has been a journey, you know? Right. And I fell, and I went back, and I've been vegan, and I've been vegetarian, I've been pescatarian, and that's like the farthest I've gone. I'm not going no further than any of those. But, you know, it's constantly evolving. I think, you know, as long as you just continue to be mindful of who you are and listen to your body. We don't listen to our body. We don't listen to our body. We drink things, our body rejected, and we drink it again. And I think it's just
real. That's real.
crazy.
Right.
You know, you drink milk and it's like, oh, I'm gassy. Your body rejecting is a symptom. Yeah. It's an indication. It's like, hey, I don't like that. Don't eat that. But you're like, girl, this ice cream tastes good. Again.
Right.
Tomorrow.
All the time.
Right.
It's like, yeah.
We'll say things out loud like, it messed me up. You know what I mean? And
right.
It eat it again and again and again. And every time, your thing is, I know it's going to mess me up. But
yeah, it's a word for that. But.
That's real. Like, while we even talk about that, like, who... So, like, what is food, right? What do we call food in our community? You know what I mean? Because growing up, I'm going to keep it G. Growing up, you couldn't tell me food wasn't like the Cheetos and Doritos and all that. Like, that wasn't in my lunch. You know what I mean? You couldn't tell me the Capri Suns wasn't real juice.
The Huggies.
You know, the Huggies. You know what I mean? You couldn't tell me that. Right?
Oh, my God.
Right? You couldn't tell me Boston Baked Beans wasn't, like, healthy. You know what I mean? Now, girl, I know I was tripping as a kid. I was, you know what I mean? But
no, it's still good though.
Right? No, it's definitely good. And all man, let's be real. All of that was good. Yeah. All of that was, and it still is if you really, you know what I mean, want to keep it G about it. But I guess my issue is like, who taught us that was food? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because we ain't make no commercials when we was young.
Right.
We just was watching them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm appreciative for that because my household was different. Like, my mom cooked every day. You don't understand.
Right.
She cooked every day. And then, like, my dad, my family, they were all into food. Like, my dad cooked, you know, so we didn't have a lot of, I never had a sweet tooth.
Right.
I just wasn't, I'm more of a salt person. Now I can do a little salt and sugar, but I wasn't a sweet person. So I can't really resonate with the snacks and the candy. Although I have had, I'm not going to say I haven't had it, but I never really was a snack or, I just never was that person. So I'm not, it doesn't surprise me that I am and I have the practices and the eating practices that I had today, because even as a child, before I was aware, even when my family would give me these unhealthy things, like it didn't taste good. I didn't want it, and I knew that I didn't want it, and I was okay that I didn't want it. So I was fortunate. I'm not gonna say fortunate, but I'm appreciative that I did have those experiences. So you know, I don't really resonate, but yeah, I used to eat, like, my favorite snack growing up was Funyuns. I like Funyuns.
Funyuns.
And my favorite candy, I like peanut chews.
Peanut chews are true. Yeah, but we had that conversation.
I think I like peanut chews. Yeah. I'm not. It's a few.
I do want to be the first to tell you that Funyuns nasty as hell.
Yeah. Now.
What?
Yeah. I just wanted to. Yeah. If ain't nobody told you that, let.
Hold up. Are they nasty?
The original ones or the
Hey, listen to me. Every era of Funyuns was trash bag. Is what I'm saying. Do you hear me? Am I being clear? Trash to the bag, and if you feel differently, leave a comment and say what you gotta say. But I'm telling you right now, trash bag, hefty, glad, whatever you want to call it today, it was trash. I'm telling you that right now.
I'm not gonna gate that because it's definitely garbage now. So.
But another thing to think about, well, I guess another thing that goes under what we're talking about right now is like I asked who decides what our food are, right? And I think we got to talk about all the white institutions, whether they're government or private industries, right? who get to decide that these things are food. We've watched videos, thankful for social media, we watch plenty of videos of how our food is made. There's access to see how our food is made. And I think we all can agree that a lot of that shit ain't food. That's number one. But even still, how it's packaged, how it's delivered, how it's marketed, the process between it being produced and going to your plate is so goddamn intentional, yo. So buy me. You know what I mean? That you have that. How could you not? You know what I mean? Perceive that as food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially like, and as a kid, and I use snacks as an example, but
yeah.
We even think about like pizza. You know what I mean? Like just stuff that's really not great for us, yo. But you couldn't tell me. You know what I mean? You think about how many. Answer me this: how many pizza menus have touched your door in your lifetime?
Oh my God.
I'm talking about, and I know what I'm telling you. I've been in white communities. I ain't never seen a pizza menu in the gutter, not yet. How many pizza menus have you looked? I'm talking like the first day you move in. So we got somewhere to order.
They send in the mail with the move-in package.
You know what I mean? For our neighbor, you know what I mean? Like,
you don't even have dishes to put the pizza on.
Real stuff. You don't need dishes because they send you the box with it. You know what I mean? It's when you talk about who gets to decide what our foods are, it's not us.
Right.
We take what's given and we flow with that.
Right.
And most of the time, you know what I mean, it's not in our favor.
Right. I gotta speak to like when you say what is food, I think before we consider like what is food, I think we gotta just think about like what satisfies us. So if you think about like what is gonna be satisfaction for you, that's gonna determine like what your choices are, right? So if you just hungry and you wanna get full, like you really don't need food. You just need to be full.
Right.
So like you'll take those chips.
Understanding your body.
You'll eat a bunch of chips and snacks, whatever is readily available to you to satisfy you, because you just really want to be satisfied.
Right. And then even with that having a choice, even if to go to food, there's nothing healthy around. All the healthy stuff is like far out. All the chicken box, the curry out, the McDonald's, all of that stuff is like right here. It's so easy to get to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you won't take the time out to figure out, let me see if I drive probably like 2 more minutes what I can find.
Right.
Yeah. Or if I look at this menu a little harder or in depth, right, and past the subsection, you know, are there any healthy options on this menu? Because I tell my son sometimes, like, he loves Chick-fil-A, and I'm like, okay, fine. Is there any healthier options on the Chick-fil-A menu? Probably not, but is it anything healthier than a Chick-fil-A sandwich with cheese with no tomatoes and no pickles?
Right.
Can you get a salad? Like, is that fine? And sometimes he'll say yeah, and then I'm okay with that, and that's my compromise with him, you know, when we eat out, something like that. But
I like that. I like that idea of starting small, like starting where you at. And I think out of that, a whole process will grow out of like just choosing something different than where you eating at right now. And then that salad might transition to, I want to make a salad at home. You know what I mean? That might even transition to where you gonna get your produce from and what kind of produce you should be eating. You know what I mean? So it's I think that's the perfect way for anybody who hasn't considered or who hasn't you know what I mean, even approached their food ways in that way. Right. Is to just start where you at. Yeah. Start where you at. And another thing I wanted to plug in is just like when you want to talk about folks who are able to help and like reconnect us to our ways, you gotta mention folks like Dr. Sebi.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You gotta mention Dick Gregory,
definitely.
Alkaline and Healing, sister here named Crystal Foreman, Leah Penniman, Akua Woolbright, Queen of Four, Dr. Africa, Michael Twitty. Am I missing anybody?
No, because I was gonna say all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, maybe like 4 of
them
on your list. I don't know all of them.
And I think that's part of the reason that like I feel like we don't got an excuse. You know what I mean? That's part of the reason. And I want to be clear that I'm saying we don't have an excuse to learn. You know what I mean? I feel like the same things we access in our daily circles or our daily travels, whatever you want to call it, is the same tools we can use to access the same knowledge. But I do, and I think it's important that we acknowledge the reality that some people don't know that it's a choice sometimes. Right. Like you can't, if you're immersed in this thing, if you're immersed in this food system and it has normalized you to all the things that we've been normalized to and have had to succumb to for X amount of years, then it's almost like you can't see above the water yet. Right. You know what I mean? It has to be brought to you that something is wrong here. Because right now, what feels normal, it feels right. It
feels right. It does, and it does. I mean? Yeah, and I just like to add to that. It's understanding like how food affects your body. Will help to like pivot you in making better decisions too. If you knew that this great thing that I love is basically affecting me in these type of ways, if you are conscious about your journey, you might be mindful a little bit to say, hey, you know what? is a lot of sodium in that sandwich. I'm gonna take the salad.
Right.
So it's just like, how is this affecting me? Are my ankles swollen because of this, or is it because of I'm eating all this stuff? Like, what's going on? These headaches. Why I have these headaches? Oh, because I don't drink water. So it's just like being mindful of how the things that we eat or we don't eat, how is it, what is it doing to our machine, right? So if you knew that spinach was better than your machine than French fries, you might not get spinach all the time, but maybe you'll get it twice out of a week. You might not get it, every time, but maybe you'll choose if you knew that, and if you knew that the French fries were clogging your arteries and creating all these different issues with you. Maybe sometimes you say, okay, give me spinach twice. I'm gonna have French fries 4 times, but I'm gonna get some spinach, and I'm okay with that. Moderation, small steps.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
But we have to know that these things exist. We have to know that. We have to know that like food is like medicine for real. We got to know that these things are like these things exist. Like we got to know that the food is the medicine is in the food, the healing is in the food. We have to know that.
We also need time. A lot of people don't have the time to do this stuff. Or even if it comes to like healthy eating, it's like, okay, I want to do it, but I know the spinach is better. But maybe how much time do I have to prep my food? Or how much money do I have to go buy all the food that I need to prep it? So like the time is like a big part of it as well. Just to try to figure out how it would work for me.
Right.
Or to be just consistent with trying to change.
I'm a resonate with the latter part, because then again it's like time for what? Like time to what? Binge watch Power or time to meal prep?
And that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
We all have a choice.
Yeah.
So we're not. If you're not into it and you're not willing to do it, and like then you don't have the resources or even the thought of learning other stuff,
or wanting to get there,
or wanting to get.
It do seem to.
I'm going to watch Power.
Right.
I'm not going to go prep my food for tomorrow.
I'm gonna add another layer to it, truthfully, and thinking about like how the households are in our community. Some people got like 5 kids, 6 kids. Yeah. You talking about, you know what I mean? You in this scenario, we can't expect them to buy a bucket of spinach. You know what I mean? Let's be G. Let's be G. You buying the wings or you buying the spinach? You got 5 kids.
But how much is a bucket of spinach? Are we checking?
Not a bucket of spinach. I mean, like,
but no, literally, how much is a bucket of spinach? Are we checking for a bucket of spinach?
They sell buckets of spinach?
No, I'm just saying. Okay, I mean bucket because I thought we were just knew that it was like a family portion.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I was saying, well, like the tubs of spinach that you would see at the grocery store. But I'm saying that to say is that like, what people are normalized that today. Like you said, talk about taking small steps. One of the things that can hold them back is I want to do it, but I also got a family to feed.
Yeah.
And I also, if I choose to spend money on things that might cost me more, but be healthier for me, I got to give them what? You know what I mean?
Right.
And also, with this going, you know what I mean? It might be great for them, but is it going to fill them up? Are they still going to be, you know what I mean? So you really get your back slammed against the wall.
Introduce them to it.
Absolutely. No, it should be done. I'm just saying that one of the issues that just pop up on you. And then some stuff.
Right. I can waste a dinner. I can waste a dinner once a month to just introduce you to something different.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's all. Those are all good points. But it is hard trying to eat healthy, and you know what? You're right, because guess what? What's more expensive in the grocery store? The spinach or the bacon?
The bacon high is HE double hockey stick.
You know what's more? Other things that's gonna be more healthier for you? Are they more affordable or less affordable?
They're less affordable and they are less accessible.
Accessible and the packages are small as crap.
Yeah, you paying $10 for something that you gonna finish in tonight.
You get a big bag of spinach and I buy them all the time. You melt it, you cook it, and it's
cook it down and then wash it. They know what's. Come on now, come on.
But see,
now.
maybe spinach isn't okay. So spinach isn't the vegetable you're gonna buy for your family. Okay. You're gonna buy collards or something that can stretch. Maybe a cabbage or something another vegetable that can stretch. But those are the mindful things that you have to be aware of too. I have this large family of 5. I can't afford to buy all these healthy things in the store because they're so expensive, right? So maybe my whole 4 courses doesn't have to be healthy, but maybe 1 course is healthy. Right. Or maybe I don't have cornbread this time. Right. You know what I mean? So
I think so. If there's a way, if there's a way to make it happen, I think that's exactly how it would happen too. Yeah. And like I said, I agree with both of y'all, and I was just acknowledging the fact that like sometimes, man, the walls really close in on you, and it's just like, you know what I mean, when you come from a poor black community, it just ain't nothing you can do about it sometimes. You know what I mean? You have to make a decision, and in that decision, I know for sure that the families I've been a part of and the families that have been around me, you don't got time to think about it. You know what I mean? And that's why I was speaking to Ashley's point. But let me ask y'all this last question before we close out. How much should we trust white institutional foodways now? Like after you hear this conversation, right? Because Eric and I always talk about this. You bring a horse to the water. You can't make him drink, but what you can do is give him peanut butter. And y'all know if y'all ever had a peanut butter sandwich, you either gonna drink that damn water or you gonna choke out right here. Because truthfully, if you don't take the knowledge you learn and use it and apply it,
Right.
you headed for the wrong way.
Right.
You headed for the last way. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's the reality of it. The food is killing us.
Yeah.
It's been killing us for years at this point.
And it's gonna continue to kill us because that's what it's designed to do.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So that's why it's important for circles like what we have here, and things, you know, institutions like BYI to spread knowledge and to inform people and get that sort of education and the knowledge out.
Right.
You know, because it's there. It really is today. It's really no reason. If you had a thought of, you saw somebody that you like on social media, you thought looked good or ate well, you know, it's there. That's a resource. Now, whether you reach out to that person for the knowledge and for that, it's totally up to you, and you have to live with that. But to say that it's not there, it's not there, because even if you don't know how to cook, you saw something somewhere, right? And if you want to be healthy, you saw something somewhere that you could have done something, and that's just why these circles are so important, so important.
Yeah, self-education is a major tool.
Self-education.
Self-education is definitely a major
Yeah,
tool.
you lost me at white people. You lost me at that. But you know, the food is killing us. It's been killing us.
Yeah.
It's gonna continue to kill us.
Yeah.
You know, but I wouldn't trust. I wouldn't say that it's for us. Like I said, it doesn't resonate with our body structure. It doesn't resonate with us as a people, our culture. You know, it doesn't resonate with us, and we know it. And we're just not listening to it. And once people come in tune with it, but I think it's happening. It's definitely happening.
Yeah.
It's here.
More than we've
It's
ever
here.
seen it, yeah.
More than
it's visible now.
It's definitely
There's
visible
like a
now.
shift in like, yo, I don't
Yeah.
eat, you know what I mean? Like, well, I eat this way, or you know what I mean?
Even
I'm
if you're
vegan.
learning.
Absolutely.
Even if you
or
don't
I'm
know.
trying it.
Yes.
Everybody's in that
Yes.
process too.
So I'm
right?
grateful
Yeah.
to be like here and just be around people that maybe we can have a conversation about this butternut squash I have in kale later.
You should plug that in, yeah.
Yeah, so we have a conversation about that, and
I
you
need some of
know,
that butternut squash and kale now. You gonna have to split that 3 ways.
I got you.
I need 2
There's
portions.
two.
I need 2 portions.
There's two.
Ashley, what about you? What you think? Do you think we should trust these like different grocery stores and institutions who are supplying us our food, particularly white institutions? Who are
I
supplying
wouldn't necessarily say no. Like I said, it's there.
Yeah, reality is we got to
And we
trust
just
somebody.
keep
right?
going back to the same, we have to teach them, we have to show them, we have to give them the resources. And that's just basically all it is.
Right.
They have to, but how are we going to do it? And I'm saying, like, this is that.
Yes.
But this is here, but still, how are they going to see it? Like,
Right.
prime example, like you said, the Instagram thing, posted the picture, 200, 300 likes.
Mhm.
Posted the podcast, you know, I told about Landis off 7 likes.
Right.
But it's only
Right.
because how it's set up for us to be viewed.
Yeah.
They don't want to see anything that's positive. They want to see you what you're doing.
That's what the food system does.
Yes.
So it's the same. Like I said, it's here, but how are we going to get to it? They won't get to it unless they actually go to my page and click on it. So
Right.
how are we going to get to it? We won't actually know until we're with people who know,
Right.
who can tell me this is what you
Right.
do, or give
Right.
or show me where to go. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would say the same thing. I would say that it's almost impossible not to have to trust at least, you know what I mean, some of our foodways that are around us, at least while we're working towards better systems and more and sovereignty and having control of our own systems.
Yeah.
But man, look, this was dope. This was good.
It was.
Tyra, thank
Tyra
you.
came and took over. I'm over here like this.
I appreciate
No, I
you.
appreciate
This was
y'all
good.
having me. I just want to say y'all need to get some fly
Girl
mugs for the guests.
power.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Wait a minute.
We need a guest mug.
We need a guest mug.
Girl
We need a guest
power.
mug. So look, man, we appreciate y'all tapping in with us. We appreciate y'all watching, listening. Man, comment, give us feedback.
Yes, let
We'd
us
love
know.
to hear what you got to say, and hopefully you could be a guest one day. Thank you, Tyra, again for coming on and kicking it with
Appreciate
us.
you. I appreciate you.
And
We have something for you later.
again, this is Black Guild Podcast, where we talk about land, food, and liberation. Ashley, you ready to take us out?
What you got me say?
You supposed to take us out.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl J Baby and your boy Dwagley with our guest, lovely, our sister Tyra in the building.
I'll take it.
Yes. But
Hey, we
thank y'all.
appreciate
Listen, we out.
Appreciate y'all. Peace.